to the show. When do you think it's too late to start a new career? Is it 50? Is it 62? I don't know. We're going to find out about Alka Joshi, who published her first novel at the age of 62. Here with the Publishing Club, we welcome Joanna Krause and Marcia Hackett.
Yes.
Hi, ladies.
Hello,
Hi.
hello.
How are you?
Good.
Thank you for joining us. This is exciting.
Well, it's very exciting. Thanks to the Publishing Club, we are able to bring this wonderful, wonderful New York Times bestselling author to us.
This is fabulous. Just real quick, we're going to give all the details later, but we want to make sure that people know that you've got the author talk and book signing on May 12th.
Right,
Yes.
next Monday afternoon.
So that's coming up quick already.
Clubhouse 1.
Okay, from 3 to 5.
Yes,
Yes,
perfect,
yes.
perfect.
So we'll tell everybody at the end of our segment how they can get tickets and so forth. But for now, let's talk about Alka. What is her story? This is amazing. What
Well,
inspired her to even start writing novels?
She was in, shall I go ahead? She was an Indian woman born in India, and she took her mother back to, they came to this country when she was 9 years old, and then she took her mother back to India, and that was the start of her thinking about writing. And subsequently, she went to Stanford University, and then followed that with a Master's of Fine Arts from, let's see, what school? Creative writing from the California College of Arts.
Yeah.
And she started writing at age
In her 50s.
50s.
But she had been in marketing and advertising, and then when COVID occurred, and there was, just a real shrinkage of business, and she thought, what am I going to do now? And she had been telling her husband stories about India, and he kept saying, you should write these down. And she said, I've never written it. She said, at one point she said, well, you never listen to your husband, do you? Kind of thing. But anyway, she finally did. And she took a kind of a crash course in writing. Obviously, she was extremely talented. Or many people take crash courses and they don't write best-selling novels. But in any case, she was very fortunate, but the interest was immediate. However, it took about, I think she said, 8 to 10 years from the time that she first wrote the novel to it actually reached publication, because there were all kinds of editing jobs from various people. So that was the first novel. And she said the next novel was much easier because she'd gone through this other process.
Right.
I think it's simply amazing that at age 62, she had her first novel, not only her first novel, but a bestseller on the New York Times bestseller list, and that is The Henna Artist, which we'll have at our event next week. So, and she finished her trilogy of those three, and then 2 weeks ago she came out with her fourth book, not part of the trilogy, 6 Days in Bombay, which will be for sale at our special event next week.
And she'll have a book signing.
Yes.
Yes. And what's interesting is that she really gives you a sense of India. Many people are, it's a place on the map, and they don't really know much about it. And she really brings the characters and the place to life for you. I mean, I started reading thinking, well, I'll read for half an hour. I couldn't put it down.
Is that right?
Yeah. And her work is very appealing, and it captures you immediately, and the characters are interesting.
Now, do you think that this is based loosely on her own life story?
No.
Not at all.
No, what she said was that her mother, who was married off at 18, I mean an arranged marriage,
Right.
and never had the opportunities that she wanted Alka to have. And she said, I want you to make your own decisions, marry whom you want, do what you want. And it was really this image. So she wrote the first book in a sense of what her mother's life might have been like had she had the opportunities to say, no, I don't want to get married, I want to do this, that, the other. She, we really don't realize, I think, in this country, how limited a woman's life can be in many other countries. And so she's really someone who is promoting, not that she's knocking motherhood at all, but rather that you should develop who you are as a person. And that this is one of her messages that goes all the way through.
So what is her story about how many years she spent in India? Did she grow up there?
Well, she has told us that she came back, she went back when she started writing this trilogy. She went back several times.
So her mother must have moved her to the States.
Well, she moved to this country at age 9.
At age 9.
And
because her father, who is a resident here, and that's how this all happened. I happened to sit next to him at a luncheon, and he started telling me about Alka, and I said, oh, we've got to get her here, we've got to get her here. So that's, thanks to him and the publishing club, it all worked out.
So our club was very fortunate that Joanna found her father, who lives in Laguna Woods Village. And so through him and through Joanna, we were able to bring her next week, and we're very excited about her.
See, it's very important who you sit next to.
It is. I always have those conversations with strangers, right?
Yeah.
You never know.
You
right?
never know. You never know who you're sitting next to, for
Super
sure.
exciting. I love it. So the character that binds her 3 novels is
Lakshmi.
Lakshmi.
She's the main character throughout all of the first 3 books. I don't know if she'll be in the last book that was just published. I don't know. But
And that character would kind of be her mom? I mean, loosely based on...
I think the first book, she wanted to imagine what a life might have been if her mother had had any opportunities other than being obviously a very caring mother, because she was really, wanting her to be a person of her, to follow her own.
to make her own decisions.
Yeah, follow her bliss, as it were.
I've been very fortunate to be in India twice, and so the first 3 books which I've read talk a lot about the culture of India, which is very different than the U.S., even though most people speak English. And she brings a lot of the culture, just the first one, the henna artist, about how so many people have henna put on their hands and their feet for special occasions, weddings and so forth. Yeah. So she's bringing a lot of the Indian culture into the books, which I find very interesting.
That whole entire culture is interesting.
Very.
Speaking of the henna tattoos, I don't completely have my facts correct, but based on loosely on memory, don't they do a henna tattoo on the bride's back, and the groom is supposed to find an area?
That's a good question. I don't know.
That I don't know. That's not in the book.
All right. Well, I'll keep going with this story, because I think, and sorry if I have this completely wrong, somebody correct me. If he finds this area, then he has to do the dishes, or she has to do the dishes, or something like that. Something silly.
That sounds very modern.
I think that's a good question. If there's a Q&A session next week to ask.
Please do, get back to me.
Yes.
Get back to me, because I thought that was really fun.
For sure.
And there are a lot of American women who might think, wow.
I don't know. It takes 5 minutes to do the dishes, right? Oh my goodness. So let's talk about the publishing club membership. How do people, if they want to join the publishing club, what do they need to do?
Well, they can join online through our website, which is Pub Club. We're not a drinking club. We shortened the long name to Pub Club LW for Laguna Woods at gmail.com.
Yeah.
They can find that online. It's $30 a year to become a member, and you get all kinds of benefits through membership.
Wonderful.
And it's not, the publishing club is a confusing name for some people, because it really is a club for anybody who's interested in writing, who may be already professionally published, or maybe thought, gee, I've always wanted to write a memoir, So I mean, it's
all skill levels.
All skill levels, and it's a very friendly group of people. and we try to support one another in whatever stage you're at. But it's some people are worried that they can't join because they haven't published anything. That's not the case at all. It's
Okay.
really for writers.
I think that's very important. There are many aspects to writing, to marketing, to publishing, and you can get help in many of these aspects through the club. There are many published authors. We have lots of seminars that'll help people in whatever.
Well, I think a good starting point is to have them come join the Okajashi
Yes.
book signing.
Yes.
And that is Monday, May 12th,
Right.
from 3 to 5 p.m.
Yes.
Clubhouse 1.
Thank you, ladies, so much for joining us. I
Thank-
appreciate
Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much for
Yeah.
having
being
us.
here.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with Nami OC just after these messages. Stay with us.